And Papa! I love you.
Blow them!
No.
Blow them!
Yay!
Yeah!
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
This is when Mama and Papa, when we got engaged, we had a party with all of our friends and we said everyone wore an animal onesie and we were penguins. We were penguins because they're together for life.
Thank you so much for clicking on my video, and if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, I am excited to celebrate the anniversary of Harry and Meghan for the 8th time. And because it's Harry and Meghan's anniversary, I expected to celebrate them, and I expected for us to spend today celebrating them, their incredible wedding, their incredible marriage, and all of the incredible things they've chosen to do with their time, their platform, their resources, and all of their incredible work. But we were the ones given the gift. It's their anniversary, and we got a gift in the form of a new video showing them celebrating their anniversary at home, but also new photos from their wedding that have never been seen before via Meghan's Instagram. So I shared those in the opening of this video. If you have an Instagram and you have yet to follow Meghan, she is at Meghan. I highly recommend. She is very active on Instagram and shares a lot of behind the scenes things, well, behind the scenes, but things we haven't seen before, photos, videos, little peeks inside her life, lots of peeks inside of her work. It is a very fun Instagram account to follow, especially if you love the Sussexes. She does not disappoint and she uploads often. So by all means, feel free to go follow her there. But if you don't, I will always share what she posts over here. So anyway, today I wanted to share a video that I've made in the past to celebrate their anniversary. Feel free to comment your well wishes to Harry and Meghan, but also feel free to share her Instagram and follow her there. And she also posted her stories where you can also like by hitting the heart button there and follow her. She's at 4.5 million followers. I was about to say subscribers, followers on Instagram. So let's get her to 5 million by the year's end. Anyway, let's get started with celebrating the anniversary of the royal couple. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and let's get started. The service began at St. George's Chapel at midday on May 19th of 2018. Following the service, the couple traveled around Windsor in a horse-drawn carriage celebrating the members of the public. An estimated 1.9 billion people tuned in to watch, making it one of the biggest televised events in history. Meghan's wedding bouquet featured a tribute to Princess Diana by including her favorite flower, forget-me-nots. It also included many other types of flowers. Following the nuptials, Meghan followed the royal tradition of placing her bouquet on the grave of the unknown warrior, a practice Queen Mother Elizabeth started in 1923 as a way to honor her brother, Fergus Bowes-Lyon, who died in World War I. The story goes, this tradition started with Queen Elizabeth's mother, Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, who became the Duchess of York and later Queen Elizabeth, when she married the future King George VI, then the Duke of York. As she made her way into Westminster Abbey for her wedding ceremony, she, without previous intention to do so, laid her bouquet on the grave of the unknown warrior, also called the Tomb of the Unknown Warrior, in memory of her older brother, Fergus Bowes-Lyon, who was killed in action in the Battle of Loos in 1915 during World War I. Since then, nearly every major royal bride has had her bouquet placed at the grave of the unknown warrior, whether they married at Westminster Abbey or not. Queen Elizabeth did, as did her sister Princess Margaret in 1960 and her cousin Princess Alexandra in 1963. In the next generation, Princess Anne, Princess Diana, Sarah, Duchess of York, and Sophie, Countess of Wessex, carried on the tradition in 1973, 1981, 1986, and 1999, respectively. And so did Meghan in 2018.
Here comes the bride.
Green. Prince Harry designed the 3-stone ring with the help of Cleve & Company in 2017 himself. It features a large cushion-cut center diamond sourced from Botswana. This is significant because Harry and Meghan spent significant time there together in the early days of their relationship, as well as 2 side stones from Princess Diana's personal collection. The wedding band was made with pure Welsh gold, and Welsh gold has been used for the royals' wedding bands dating back to 1923 when the Queen Mother chose the material for her own wedding ring. We love the beard over here, and every time I look back at the photos, I just think of how dashing he looks and how beautiful she looks. The Duke of Sussex's wedding outfit was the frock coat uniform of the Household Cavalry, the Blues and Royals, made by tailors at Dage & Skinner on Savile Row. As the uniform specially commissioned for the occasion is required for use by His Royal Highness, this is an identical uniform made by Dage & Skinner a few years earlier. Quote, I chose the frock coat as a uniform with permission from my grandmother because I think it's one of the smartest household cavalry uniforms. It's one of my favorites, and I was very fortunate to be able to wear it on that day, His Royal Highness, the Duke of Sussex reported. The uniform's single-breasted blue doeskin jacket was figured braiding of regimental pattern on the stand-up collar and sleeve. It is ranked to major with large gold embroidered crowns. The trousers, officially called overalls, are made from a blue and black wool barathia and are fastened by a leather strap and buckle underneath the boot. This is such a nice uniform. I don't think I've ever seen it before. I definitely don't I'm not really familiar with a lot of British uniforms, obviously. Like, I would probably assume you guys were just called the red coat still, so I would know. But this uniform is very flattering. It's dashing, and I love the color patterns. I love the white gloves and the white belt. I love the braid. I love the colors. I love the red stripe on the pants, and I especially love the hat. I thought it all looked nice, and it looked even better with the beard. So now, let's talk about Meghan's dress. Meghan walked down the aisle in a Givenchy couture wedding gown designed by Claire Wade Keller. Claire went on to win Women's Wear Designer of the Year award at the UK Fashion Awards in 2018, and Meghan made a special appearance to present the award to Claire Wade Keller herself. The dress has been widely praised for its simplicity, elegance, and perfect fit. Hailed the perfect modern dress, accentuating her beauty, strength, modesty, femininity, and once again, the perfect fit. Not only hugging her appropriately, but allowing ample space for movement. Dresses are always meant to be lived in. The gown was floor length and featured long sleeves and a batou neckline. Claire told Harper's Bazaar she wanted to create a timeless piece that would emphasize the iconic codes of Givenchy throughout its history, as well as convey modernity through sleek lines and sharp cuts. In contrast, the delicate floral beauty of the veil was a vision. Meghan and I shared a special gesture, embracing the Commonwealth flora, ascending the circumference of the silk tulle. Not only was Meghan's gown a moment in not only fashion history, but history overall, it also inspired many brides globally. One in particular was successful actress Alexandra Daddario, which we have a whole video on this actually. In an interview with In Style, the actress opens up about how she chose her 20s-inspired wedding dress by Danielle Frankel. Quote, "I'm not the type of girl who's dreamed of her wedding. I had no idea what I wanted to wear, but I knew I didn't want it to be super traditional," she says. As she began seeking out the right big day look for her, one that felt right for the location without being too stuffy, she considered the looks worn by notable brides who came before her. Quote, "I guess I was kind of thinking Meghan Markle," she tells the outlet. While her pleated gown, complete with thin floral straps, looked entirely unlike Meghan's silk organza wedding dress, which featured a batou neckline and 3/4-length sleeves, Daddario's decision to wear something unique, comfortable, and entirely her own certainly aligns with the Duchess of Sussex's own approach to the wedding day fashion. "That was just the one that felt right, and I didn't overthink it, and I just went with my gut," Daddario told In Style of how she ultimately chose her wedding dress. And although Daddario's wedding dress was not anything similar to Meghan's, it did bear a resemblance to the Duchess of Sussex's reception look. Meghan traded her Givenchy gown for Stella McCartney number with a halter neckline, and the skirt of that dress does look quite similar to the one Daddario donned for her celebration. So now let's talk about Meghan's veil. The veil was 5 meters in length, trimmed with lace depicting flora from each of the 53 Commonwealth countries. In addition to her sweet tribute to the Commonwealth, Meghan also included a small piece of blue fabric woven into its folds, sourced from the dress that she wore on her first date with Prince Harry. And now, without further ado, we have to talk about the tiara. The veil was held in place by Queen Mary's diamond bandeau tiara, which was originally made in 1932 and lent to Meghan by the late Queen Elizabeth II herself. The diamond and platinum tiara is formed as a flexible band of 11 sections, pave set with large and small brilliant diamonds. The bandeau was made of Her Majesty's grandmother, Queen Mary, and specifically designed to accommodate the center brooch. The brooch was given to the then Princess Mary in 1893 by the County of Lincoln on her marriage to Prince George, Duke of York, future King George V. The bandeau and the brooch were bequeathed to Her Majesty by Queen Mary in 1953 and loaned to Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, in 2018. In Spare, Prince Harry revealed Meghan trying on tiaras with Queen Elizabeth herself, commenting, "Tiaras suit you." To which Meghan responded with a "Thank you, ma'am." Princess Diana's family offered Meghan the Spencer tiara to wear on her special day, and that was essentially the plan until Queen Elizabeth invited Meghan to try on tiaras with her personally, and together they picked out Queen Mary's bandeau tiara. So now we have to talk about the reception dress. For the evening reception, Duchess Meghan donned a bespoke Stella McCartney lily white gown with high neck detail and silk crepe, with Prince Harry donning a traditional black tuxedo. Meghan paired the dress with silky satin heels by Aquazzura that featured a nude mesh baby blue sole, and she wore an emerald-cut aquamarine ring that was once owned by Princess Diana. This look is one of my absolute favorite wedding looks of all time by any bride ever. This was actually one that stunned me when I saw it. She has the perfect shoulders and arms for it, and I just thought it fit her body perfectly. The whole dress, the whole look, the shoes, everything, and then of course the jaguar. All of it worked so well together.
But love is the only way.
They invited members of the public. Harry and Meghan wanted the public to feel as though they were part of the celebration as much as possible, so they invited 2,640 members of the public to watch them arrive and depart from St. George's Chapel. I don't know if you saw this in the video, but it was mentioned by one of the reporters that several members of their charities and people who were affiliated with the charities that they champion and the foundations that they champion were part of the group that was watching them walk in and out of St. George's Chapel. Meghan escorted herself down the aisle. In a universal show of strength and empowerment, Meghan was not escorted by her father and opted to walk into the chapel by herself. She was also met halfway by Prince Charles, who escorted her to his son at the altar.
On the day of our wedding, it's like I went into a really calm space. I don't know how I was so calm. All I wanted was a mimosa, a croissant, and to play the song Going to the Chapel. Well, that's what I did. And it was great.
Going to the chapel and we're gonna get married.
Here comes the bride. Is when you finally get to see that dress.
There were many conversations we had over how you want to present yourself to the world. I mean, most of us have a wedding with, 70 to 200 people. This was billions of people watching this wedding. It has to be flawless. It has to be perfect.
And I just remember thinking, just take a deep breath and keep going. And you chose the song that I walked down the aisle to. Which was stunning. Oh, it's so beautiful.
That's when my father helped us choose an orchestra.
Harry's dad is very charming. And him as my father-in-law was really important to me. So I asked him to walk me down the aisle, and he said yes.
Look at me, look what I got. Look what I found. The world was watching us. But when we were actually at the altar, as far as I was concerned, it was just the two of us.
The royal wedding ceremony was led by 3 Anglican pastors, but the third, Michael Curry, was a little different from the first 2. He was the first African-American bishop at the head of the Episcopal Church, and he spoke of the importance of love between 2 people from such different cultures before finishing his speech with a rendition of the gospel song, Stand By Me, which, oh my goodness, to this day, that is one of the best renditions I've ever heard. It was absolutely beautiful. Meghan and Prince Harry also chose not to use traditional wedding vows, which ask that a woman obeys her husband by promising to love and comfort him, honor and keep him, a modern detail in line with the bride's feminist ideals. Meghan is even described as a feminist in her official biography on the Kensington Palace website. Now, because of the location chosen for the wedding, St. George's Chapel, it was not expected that the newlyweds' first kiss would take place on a balcony as it did for Prince Charles and Lady Diana in 1981. On exiting the religious ceremony, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle kissed in front of the church, a first for the chapel after having been the location of several royal weddings. Now, with a simple ring, Prince Harry turned all the royal rules on their head. The male members of the royal family do not usually wear a wedding band, as was the case for Prince William at his wedding to Kate Middleton. But in marrying Meghan Markle, Prince Harry has decided to once again break with tradition and wear a ring of his own. It is customary for the ring to be made from Welsh gold, like that of his bride, but Princess Diana's youngest son opted for a platinum wedding band instead.
And the young couple preparing to greet the crowds on the streets of Windsor.
We're just seeing on the top of the round tower over to the right there, Hugh, the largest of all the very large royal standards. The biggest one in the cupboard has come out today. It really is magnificent. It's almost a hazard to air traffic. It's so big.
And well, she might take a moment, Dermot. Well, she might take a moment. And I think they might, who knows what they're saying to each other, that's private and entirely between them, but I think they might both take a moment to congratulate each other. on getting through what is essentially an intensely private moment under such scrutiny. The smile is broad, the wave is confident. He got his gal.
He did. Looks a very happy man now, doesn't he?
And the role of the military today is so personal to Harry, as we know. He's seen 2 tours of Afghanistan. There are 250 members of the armed services who are involved in making sure that this splendid bit of pageantry is all it should be, and they are many of them servicemen that Harry knows well and has served with. What a shot.
I fell head over heels in love with her because my heart told me that she was the one that I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Well, she's absolutely perfect for the role as well. Finding a needle in a haystack.
Prince Harry officially engaged to American actress Meghan Markle.
She's going to bring this fresh sparkle, if you like, into the royal family, and it's all seen as good news.
Congratulations from all of us. How are you both feeling?
Yeah, well.
And Meghan, how are you feeling?
To have her culture represented in that wedding, amazing. I loved it. And I thought it was really courageous and breaking boundaries, but not trying to.
We cut cake with a sword.
I mean, it was great. It was all so over the top. I think most people were just like, what is happening, Elton?
1, 2, 3. Go to 1, 2, 3.
Meg was madly in love.
Harry and Meghan's wedding was freaking amazing. And I've actually watched footage from pretty much all royal weddings, and they all have a certain quality to them. I mean, they're royal, of course. So there's an excitement to them. There's a lot of coverage. There's so much hustle and bustle. There's so many screaming fans and supporters. It's a lot. And if you look back at every royal wedding, you will see elements of that. But there was something truly special about Harry and Meghan's wedding, not just because it was culturally diverse, which to this day, I am so proud of her for being so courageous and putting her culture out there in that way, because it would have been very easy for her to just conform and do things the way that it's always been done and just allow the establishment or the firm to plan this wedding for her and do exactly what they wanted to do. And she could have just been a participant, or she could have just been in shock and awe of, I'm in a royal wedding. That's as good as it's going to get. I'm not going to make any waves. I really appreciate that she made it a point to be very true to herself and be very proud of who she is, where she comes from, and all that that entails. At no point did she hang her head or like in a mousy voice say like, oh, is it okay if I do this? Is it okay? She was very upfront about who she is, what comes with her, and what she is proud of, and that is herself. And I love that she also did that with the full support of her husband, who loves all things about her as well. I know that they did not do that for the purpose of proving a point, but they absolutely did prove a point. And it showed how, one, you can put yourself out there, be courageous, even when people are asking you to conform and minimize yourself. She stood strong in who she was, and boy, did it pay off. But then two, how you can be an ally. But also, it does inspire me, and it's kind of validating to see her say, I am who I am, and you will not minimize me. It validates a lot of us, not everybody, I can't speak for everybody, but a lot of us who have had to have that same attitude, and we know what comes along with that. It validates us in those choices, because it can be very tempting to just ignore things or brush them off or go along to get along. I can't relate to laughing along with it now. That I don't understand that, but that is not my journey. But it validates me at times where I'm like, damn, am I combative? Like, do I have to point out everything? Do I always have to be the one? Yes. Yeah, you should. If that is a way to advocate for yourself, always have your own back. And it doesn't matter who's uncomfortable with that. And seeing her stand up literally with her chin held high and her shoulders back in the freaking lion's den, and we watched that, kudos to her, 100%. Not only did her marriage and her wedding represent a moment in history, one of the biggest moments in history, the biggest royal wedding of all time, the most viewed royal wedding of all time, the best, in my opinion, royal wedding of all time. I wish Princess Diana had been able to be present and to see that and see her son get married, especially to someone like Meghan. I just feel like that would have been a real moment of pride and happiness for her, especially knowing her journey as well. That's the only thing that was missing. But boy, can I say that about a lot of things. It would have been great if Princess Diana could have been present for a lot of things. But aside from that, that wedding was a moment in history. It was it's always going to be talked about. I feel like it's always going to be dissected. There were so many different elements to that wedding, to people's reactions, to the coverage, to Harry and Meghan themselves. There's so much to take away about race, about community, about racism, about love and relationships, about diversity, about interracial relationships, about class differences, about culture differences, even where you're from, different countries. There's so much to take away, and they navigated that seamlessly. Kudos to both of them. Kudos to Meghan for having her own back and advocating for herself in a moment where, my goodness, I don't know how she managed to do that and do it so well. But also kudos to Harry for having his wife's back and having his own back. Having your spouse's back is having your own back as well. Protecting your union is essential. You have to protect your union. Your union is between you, your spouse, and God, and you have to protect that with your life. So good for both of them for holding themselves down and each other. And we have this beautiful moment in history because of it. But also just them being themselves, just them operating on cloud nine, just on high, and having that kind of pride in themselves and each other, and really putting their love out there, and not just relishing in it, but enjoying it, and just kind of inspiring other people like, hey, your love story can happen at any time. Also, it's definitely a lesson in manifestation. If you know. But it's definitely a beautiful moment in history. But I think beyond that, it's a lot that everyone could take away from it. There's a lot of lessons to be learned. And I think it represented so many amazing things that anytime we do get a chance to look back at it, there's always something different to talk about. I've covered their wedding for a number of reasons, especially around their anniversary. A lot of times we'll do a timeline, or we'll do a look back, or I'll talk about like the clothes, or like the page boys and the flower girls. And we'll talk about different elements of it anytime we touch base on it. And there's still so much we have yet to talk about years later. I can't imagine what it was like, but I would have loved a behind the scenes of how the hell do you plan something of that magnitude? My goodness. Because even in Spare and even in Harry, Meghan, the docuseries, only so much can be shared. That's a huge event. I cannot imagine what that process was like for those who put in, the groundwork and were, boots on the ground, but also Harry and Meghan. Like, how the heck do you keep track of all that? Even the choir, that wasn't just a choir, that was an assembled choir for that event. That's just insane. Like, planning all that. Mind you, had she been planning all that with the full support of her family, that would have been a difficult task to know everything that she was going through with her family and with his family in the midst of all that. Ma'am. They just don't make spines of steel like that anymore. I just don't understand it. I mean, obviously you saw her strength and her lifeblood sitting right there watching over her mom. And I feel like a lot of Meghan's strength clearly comes from Doria. She is just so dignified and strong, and she always has her flowers back. And I love that, and always managed to do so with such grace and class. Because let me tell you, if my daughter is marrying into this and I'm seeing these faces, I probably would have thrown a hymnal book at Kate. I would have been dragging them into the aisle like, now wait a minute, what was that look? See, that's why some people are in certain rooms and some people are not. Because she had to handle herself with grace and class as well. Again, a spine of freaking steel. And I also think, while people think they got away with stuff, you never get away with anything. What's done in the dark comes to the light. And while people thought they were getting their cheap shots off and making faces at each other and being rude to Meghan and being nasty to Meghan, history is not going to look kindly back on you. It's absolutely not. People don't look kindly on you now. I'm also very curious as to, like, what do they think that looks like on the other side? Like, do they really think people enjoy that? I think they know a certain group of society enjoy that, and that's just the hateful people. They hate everything progressive, and I think that's really the dog whistle, and that's who it's for. I think they like riling up that group because they know what comes from that. I think that's who their target is. And then I would ask their fans and supporters, do you really want to support someone who targets appealing to hateful people? Because they themselves are the epitome of hatefulness. And so I hope at some point people can evolve. But what I appreciate and I love most about hearing Meghan's story is that they don't wait. They don't wait for you to come around and accept them. They don't wait for you to get them or understand them or validate them. They validate themselves. They got to work regardless. They pushed forward regardless. And look at how so much of society has received so many advancements and support and resources and upliftment, I guess, acknowledgement and validation from them doing the work that they set out to do, regardless of how anybody feels about them personally, regardless of anyone else's hangups, regardless of anyone else's roadblocks and racism. They didn't stop. They said, you're going to have to deal with that on your own. I got work to do. And their union has continued to be, since the moment they were announced as a couple at the Invictus games to now, to them being married with kids and having a foundation and having all these different roles and wearing so many hats and all the many things that they do together and separately and with their family. All this time, they are still a shining example of strength and what it looks like and what it means to protect your union. And as a married woman myself, I will say it is essential, because even when you're not royal, there will be things sent to challenge your marriage. Now wait, what doesn't challenge your marriage is when you two are doing stuff to each other. Now that I don't believe in. You can't be doing the cheating and the beating and all that. Now that is not a marriage challenge. That is you are attacking me. Let me get the hell up out of here. That is not what I'm talking about. So I want to make sure that is separate. But I mean, challenges in a marriage could look like loss of life or a family member, or even having kids can be a challenge, or finances, or moving, or just there's so many things that can happen in life. And as a couple, there are a lot of things that will seek to tear you apart and pull you apart. You have to hold on. You have to hold on. You have to stay strong. You have to push forward with your partner. And if anybody seeks to divide and conquer, you have to stomp them out, no matter who it is. And that's a word. I don't know who that was for, because I'm not going through anything, but that was a word on my heart. I decided to share. Hopefully somebody got something from that. But if your partner's really down for you, they would not let people divide and conquer, and neither would you. Always have your own back and your partner's back, no matter what. But anyway, looking back on their wedding, there was just so much to pull from it. I'm sure we'll look back on their wedding and their engagement in the future, and we'll have a whole different conversation. There's so many different conversations and learning opportunities just from dissecting their relationship and their wedding and their marriage. There's a lot there. They represent a lot without even trying to. I also appreciate that Serena Williams, in that clip, she says, that they showed themselves and they proved a point even without trying to. And that's the thing. They weren't trying to make a point. They were being true to themselves. And there was so much to still take away from that. And I think that's what happens when you're true to yourself. You enlighten, you inspire, you help others evolve, and you help yourself evolve. So kudos to both of them. And kudos to Meghan for her freaking spine of steel, because she was absolutely in the lion's den, and it was on TV. Everybody could see it. And it's not the only time that's happened.
And then we had the reception at St. George's Hall. I mean, it was great. It was all so over the top. I think most people were just like, what is happening? Elton John's performing. I couldn't find my mom because she'd beeline to the stage to just watch Elton sing.
Thank you so much for watching the SharionSade YouTube channel. I appreciate you watching my content. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video by hitting the thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. And don't forget to comment along the way. If you feel so inclined, please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Now let's get back to the video. What an amazing look back. It's always so nice to revisit such a joyous occasion. And I will admit, I have to pause and remember to do look backs regularly. I'm all about staying in the present, planning for the future, but staying grounded in the present, partially because I have anxiety. So if I spend too much time thinking about the future or concerning myself with the past, baby, I will spiral. Some of y'all can relate to that. So I typically stay in the present, but I love having these moments to look back at other people's beautiful moments and cherish other people's memories, but also my own. My wedding anniversary is November 13th. I will have been married 10 years in November. And for those of you who have been watching my channel for a long time, I know that feels like time has passed really, really quickly, because I feel like I was just making a video talking about I've only been married for 3 or 4 years and we're still new. But I'm going to be very real, and y'all can probably relate to this. I've been married 10 years this fall, and it still feels like our wedding was yesterday. So I have a question for the brides and the grooms out there. For those of you who had a wedding, or a big wedding especially, because our wedding got out of control. We were not anticipating to have as many people come that actually came. We had our wedding on a Sunday evening. And I just didn't expect everybody to come. A lot of people RSVP'd no, because they would be out of town. And also we were expected to have inclement weather, and it was a Sunday night, and a lot of people were coming from out of town. So we got about 50% more people show up than what RSVP'd, and we were not prepared. It was a hoot hollering mess, but it was so freaking much fun. But for those of you who had a big wedding, especially grooms and brides, do you remember what you were thinking when you walked down the aisle? Do you remember anything from your wedding? Almost everybody who talked to me about my wedding beforehand was like, girl, do not forget to step away, take deep breaths, and take it in because you will forget. It goes by so fast. And I'm like, it's a 5.5 hour wedding. How will I forget, child? A lot is gone. I have to look back at my pictures to remember certain things because the only thing I remember is seeing my husband, well, walking up the stairs into the grand hall because I got married at the Hall of State in downtown Dallas, and I walked up the stairs, but because the people who made my dress, they forgot my hoop skirt, and I was holding up 13 or 14 layers of tulle by hand. And God bless my wedding planner because she helped me to wrangle that because I was supposed to have a hoop skirt and they forgot to put it in my dress when they delivered it. And it was just a mess, child. But anyway, I was going up the stairs and I think it's like 20 some odd stairs. And I fell up the stairs and I will never forget looking up and seeing my dad and we both just bust out laughing. And then I saw my husband and we both just bust out laughing. And I said, you know what? Hell yeah. He knows exactly who he's marrying. And then we walked down the aisle and because I was holding my dress up, my dad couldn't hold my hand, so he had to hold my wrist, which actually comforts me. That's actually a way to help me not get anxiety. Holding my wrist firmly is in my ankles. For some reason, it grounds me when I'm having anxiety, and that's how we found that out. So that was helpful. And then we get down the aisle and I see my husband. I remember seeing him and we both just was like, not us getting married. Like we both are so unserious. Oh my God. And then my mom and dad really don't get along that well. But my wedding planner had my mom and dad remove my veil together and then sit next to each other. And the whole day I was so worried about hearing just like a whole bunch of fighting breaking out. And but they actually had a real good time together. They held it together, but I know they were ready to get out of those seats. They cannot stand each other. I'm like, how did y'all make kids? Y'all hate each other anyway. And then I saw my granddaddy, and that was the highlight. Outside of seeing my husband, was seeing my granddaddy. My granddaddy officiated my wedding. If I'm not mistaken, I'm the only grandchild he officiated the wedding of, and that makes me so happy because he and I were very, very close. And so I ran up and I hugged my granddaddy, but my dress was so heavy, I almost knocked us over. And my maid of honor had to help us not fall. I was like, Granddaddy, I'm so sorry. He said, no, it's okay. Your dress kind of heavy. I see why you spent so much money. Anyway, my granddaddy passed away in 2024. So that was such a fun memory to make with him. And then he also changed my vows. My granddaddy changed my vows and he added a bunch about providing and protecting. I mean, I think he made providing and protecting like comments maybe 4 or 5 times. And I was like, I know these people are like, are they going into war after this? Why is he talking about protecting? He said it several times. He was like, this is my baby. If you change your mind, send her back. I'm happy to have her. Please protect her. And I was like, okay, see, no more true crime for you. No more snapped. But no, he said several times, protect and provide, protect and provide, protect and provide. And he talked about him being the reason I'm spoiled. And he said, well, she's your problem now. You can blame me, but you still got to take care of it to the manner she is accustomed. And everybody's laughing. And I'm like, Granddaddy, please stop roasting me and let's get through these vows. So anyway, it was the time of my life. But I rarely think about our wedding day. We've had 10 years of marriage that I'm like, how did all this begin? Oh, that's right. November 13, 2016. We've been together for quite some time. So if you had a wedding, do you remember, what memories do you have from that? Those are the only memories. The ceremony are the only memories I have. The reception went by without a flash. My florist misdelivered or wrongfully delivered. I don't know. Like our centerpieces were not there. So I had made some accents and we just used these very small handmade centerpieces or accents as the centerpieces, but it kind of worked because it was in the grand hall and that thing is ornate. And it actually worked. It looked very minimalist, which is kind of what I was going for. So it all worked out. But as far as memories, I really don't have that many. I do have a memory of dancing with my nephew, Jaron. That was so much fun because he is just my precious nephew. And he is not like, we don't ever hang out. And during the reception, he just walks up to me and starts dancing with me. And I said, you know what? Heck yeah. And that was the first time we'd ever like had like a real fun, just me and him moment. And it's one of my favorite memories. He was the ring bearer. And he took the gold box home, and we still don't know where that gold box is, but that's his. But other than that, we had such an amazing time. And I try to remember as much as I can, but everybody who told me, if you have a big wedding, you're going to forget what happened. And they were right. If you walk down the aisle or if you had a big wedding, what do you remember, if anything? Did you forget the majority of it? Tell me in the comment section below. And then for everyone who's here to celebrate the Duke and Duchess of Sussex on their 8th wedding anniversary, y'all, it genuinely feels like I was just turning it on my iPad. I remember getting into work and being like, okay, I'm watching the royal wedding today. Let me know if y'all need me because my door is going to be closed because the royal wedding's going to be playing in my office all day. I had my iPad streaming the royal wedding all day long. And I didn't know what her color motif was, but I knew it was in the spring. Obviously, it's in May. So I wore yellow and pink because I was like, I know I'm going to be in theme some kind of way. And my dress was actually yellow, unlike some people. And I'll just leave it there. But I wore yellow and pink. My shoes were pink and yellow, and my dress was yellow. And I dressed up to watch that wedding at work. I did not schedule any meetings that day. I had it streaming all day. I even ate a salad at my desk so that I would not have to step away. I was like, they're getting these streams because I love me a good Black princess, and I love me a little redhead Prince Harry. But it's so beautiful to see how their life has evolved and all the crazy things that they've been able to do and accomplish. And I feel like I knew they would go on to do great things individually and together. But to see how they've really harnessed not only their platform, but their work ethic and their union to do good, not just for themselves and their family unit, but for the world, it has really been inspiring to see. And my goodness, I know Diana is proud. I know she is proud. I just wish she was able to be here to see it and celebrate with them. But anyway, those are my thoughts. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much for celebrating Harry and Meghan's 8th wedding anniversary with me. I know you guys have other Sussex family channels to get to, so y'all tell them hello for me. You'll see me in some of their comments and some of their live streams today. I'm trying to celebrate all day with as many people as I can. But thank y'all so much. I have a cold, so I can't be talking this long. I gotta go. But thank y'all so much for watching. If you haven't already and you feel so inclined, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I will see y'all next time. Happy anniversary, Harry and Meghan. See y'all next time. Bye.